Clear? So that classification, this is here. Anti-gravity, when you are doing asanas, anti-gravity muscles happens. Anti-gravity muscles happens when you're performing. Minimum of neuromuscular activity and coordination happens. Minimum of neuromuscular activity. Various groups of muscles controlled by complex reflex of activity, economical of energy, and psychophysiological bearing on the behavior. Also, it controls our behavior also. Listen carefully. It's vice versa always. That also you can understand. That concept also you can understand. See, I want to remove this, and it's actually removed. It's actually hiding my presentation.
Your screen is very clear for us.
But for me, it's hiding. I'm unable to remove that. How to remove? I'm new for this.
What is that screen, ma'am? You can tell me.
Yeah, it's good. I have to remove this. I might touch something.
Minimize it. Minimize it.
Yeah.
Okay, because we are very clearly seeing your screen right from the beginning.
Okay. So various groups of muscles controlled by complex reflex of activity while performing asanas. Is it not? Various groups of muscles controlled by complex reflex of activity. By how? When practicing asanas. So economical of energy and psychophysiological bearing of the behavior also. For example, if you're practicing the asanas, means you can slow down, you can reduce your temper in the static position. So muscle must remain in fascic contraction for smooth, purposeful motor performance. So, which means this is against our repetitive practices. So actually, it's very big, very, what should I say? As we are all the yogic faculties or professionals, we should not detail it, but this itself will take 3 hours. But I minimized. I have given the very important points. Try to understand. So anti-gravity happens. Minimum of neuromuscular activity if you are practicing traditionally as per the concept of Patanjali. If you are practicing the asanas as per the concept of Patanjali, the stableness, effortlessness means this all the changes happens. The various groups of muscles controlled by complex reflex of activity. So it will result in economical of energy, also psychophysiological bearing on the behavior. You can control your behavior also. It will be, once you are able to control, once you have the awareness, when you are able to maintain your body in that state, you can control your behavior also. It starts from awareness of your body. So again, one more analogy, bow. So functioned well when string taut enough. If you take the bow, the functioned well when string taut enough. That's enough. So if it is very loose, means you could not. If you are not at all active, if you are not floating, means you cannot short anything. But if you over effort, if you are overly stringing, means what happens? Overshoot the mark. So here it will result in nervous tension. So you should tout the limited as we need. It should not go below level. At the same time, you should not take it for over level. You should not be without active. You should, at the same time, you should not be overactive. This concept applies for your asanas practice. So, for example, veena or violin, balanced dynamic adjustment of opposite tendencies, the dvandva. If you're practicing as veena or violin, So balance dynamic adjustment of opposite tendencies happens, which means the contraction of muscles. No? So our muscles, also our nerves, both has two tendencies, inhibitory and facilitatory. Both you have to balance by practicing of asanas. Inhibitory and facilitatory, both. So if you're practicing asanas like veena or violin, you should not go for over stage at the same time. You should not be without stage. So you can gain the real health. So balanced tone is maintained in muscles when you practice yoga, as traditionally the basic movement of postural activity also gain. It's a concept here. So if the balance is upset, by disease process, the involuntary movements happens. If the balance is upset by disease process, or if you are inactive, if you are not at all practice, if you are very lazy, if you are not at all using your muscles, if you are not at all practicing, if you are not at all stretching, if you are not at all practicing asanas, you should consider all this means not only disease condition, if you are not using, if you are not practicing, if you are not using asanas also, the involuntary movements happens because it is out of your control. See, even while practicing asanas itself, if you are a regular practitioner, means you can identify in the beginning time you feel some shivering because that is not in your control. You can feel that shivering in your thighs when you practice. Even Padahastasana, whatever technique if you are practicing, if you are new for the practice, means you feel shivering in your muscles because it is out of your control. It is newly coming for the practices. So you feel shivering. So if you are practicing for regularly for 6 months, for 3 months, or even after 45 days also, you can bring it under your control. So involuntary movements happens. Abnormal states of muscle tone happens, which results in spasticity, rigidity, hypotonia, plasticity. All are like paralysis. So I'm getting sound. I'm sorry, I'm getting sound. Spasticity, rigidity, hypotonia, flaccidity. All are like paralytic. Okay. So emotion, you should not overstate at the same time. You should not without state. So emotions, mental attitudes affect on nervous system. Also, emotions, mental attitudes affect on nervous system. That's what we are applying yamas, niyamas, pratibhaksha bhavana. All the concepts we are applying in our day-to-day life. See, not only for 45 minutes or 1 hour practicing yoga throughout the day, because it has message for all. It is a lifestyle. Yoga is lifestyle. You should apply in throughout the life, throughout the day. The concepts and the practice both. So mental attitude affects physical health. Because don't think the body and mind, both are interdependent. Body will affect your mind, mind will affect your body. It's a basic concept, you know very well. We don't waste our time by dealing with that. Mental attitude affect physical health, reverse. You can think reversely. You can apply the same concept reversely by yoga. Yoga, tone of muscles set right. So while practicing yoga while practicing yoga, not only asanas here, you can consider some pranayamas, also kriyas. It's it right. The mental attitude. For example, you take again the same example I'm giving you. If you are highly tensed or emotionally imbalanced, what happened? You cannot walk, you cannot think, you cannot sit also. You feel very tired. You cannot do anything that time. You feel very erect, dukkha, dharmansya, angame, jayat, prashvasha, all you feel. Through the yogic practice, traditionally you can set right all this. Angama Jaitva, disturbance in tonic rhythm of body, can thus re-establish by the harmonious functioning of the whole system. So you can So already we studied. By practicing a asana, you can overcome the abdomen chair instability. Clear? Next. Degree of muscle tone and its distribution are regulated while practicing asanas. Degree of muscle tone and its distribution are regulated. This integrated, so regulation, integrated through the lower centers by medulla, pons, cerebellum, and basal ganglia, the brain centers. This, when you're moving your asana, when you're performing the asanas, connecting your lower brain. See, when you're performing asana, see, we study, it's a vice versa. It's a vice versa. So mental affects your body through the practice of physical asanas. So through the practice of asanas, you can control your mind. It's a concept here. So this integration, this coordination, this tonic rhythm connected with your centers by medulla, pons, cerebellum, and basal ganglia, lower brain. So the disturbance in the tonic rhythm due to inhibitive effects of higher centers of brain, especially cerebral cortex. That's what. So in order to re-establish the hormone of the tonic rhythm, arrange the higher center cortex over the lower subcortical posture integrating centers. Through your lower, you can control your higher. You can re-establish your higher centers of your brain. Here the concept like this. Actually, we are going from down. Through practicing asanas, you can control your lower brain. Through the lower brain, you can control your higher brain, which means you can re-establish. Advice for asanas practice. Maintain in little effort, don't force yourself. Contemplate an infinity or oceanic feeling to overcome icosna. Here you should understand this concept. Dvandva. It definitely gives an idea. It's not only for meditative, it's not only for relaxative, it is also for curative and cultural asanas. Clear? This happens only in curative asanas and cultural asanas. And one more concept I wanted to share with you. Artha Machendrasana or Purna Machendrasana, actually it's a Machendrasana only. Machendrasana is not meditative asana, but Machendra meditated in that asana only. Machendra. If you studied Hatha Yoga Pratipya, Hatha Yoga text, you will understand. So when you twist and stay in that position, particularly when you do the, I'm not talking about Artha Machendrasana, I'm talking about Machendrasana. When you're performing Machendra asana, what happens? No, you're twisting your spine. Also, you're twisting your neck. Actually, in the neck, in the upper palate, we have some moon secretion. Yeah, that is not a relation, but I'm telling the very important concept. While twisting your spine with the pressure, actually your heel pressing on your below your navel region in Purana Machendrasana, what happens? It stimulates your Kundalini Shakti, which is called in your Mooladhara. That's what Machendra meditated in Machendra Asana, which is twisting asana. So again, the concept says you have to gain the stableness in curative asanas. For that, what you have to do, you have to practice like veena and violin. You should not put more effort and you should not use your maximum energy. This you can gain through the regular practice. And again, don't expect the results. That concept. Practice and progressively. Clear? And that's what you have to take the mind. You should feel the oceanic feeling. You should take the mind from the I person. Clear? The outcome of asanas, you just consider, I just wanted to recall my master. He used to say, if you're mastering, if you want to identify your mastering some asanas, means you should feel the shavasana relaxation in Paschimottanasana. You should feel the same relaxation feeling. You should get the same relaxation feeling in Paschimottanasana. You should get the same relaxation feeling in Chakrasana. You should get the same relaxation feeling in twisting asanas also, which means you are mastered in that asana. Unless otherwise you are not. At the same time, you need not to maintain too much time. That is different. That will take another 1 hour if you talk like that. We'll move on to the other practices. So asanas, I hope you got some idea about asanas, how to practice, how to gain, how to cultivate our nervous and muscular system through the practice of asana, how it connects our nervous system, how it maintains, how it controls our central nervous system and autonomic nervous system also through that. Now pranayama, mudras and bandhas. Neuromuscular locks. Mudras and bandhas means neuromuscular locks and gases. See, if you know Sambhavi Mudra, you will understand what is gases also. That is, we don't want to discuss that also. Bandhas and mudras means neuromuscular locks and gases. Okay, involve changes in internal pressure to a very high degree. Direct effect on visceral tone. So glandular secretion, including endocrine and vital nerve flexes. It is highly effective. The Munis know, the practitioners, the ancient people, they practice mudras and bandhas to gain some siddhis, ashtama siddhis. You would have heard about it, right? So through this practices only they gain that. Right? Here our purpose is not here. Here we should recondition our body, internal organs. The physiological conditions, which is out of control, which is disintegrated. Due to that, we are getting disturbances. We are getting vyadhi. Through the practices, we have to recondition. So neuromuscular locks and gases involve changes in the internal pressure to a very high degree. For example, Mula and Uddiyana. So Uddiyana, how will you practice Mula and Uddiyana? Actually, it's against the gravity. The force is against the gravity we are practicing, right? Mula and Uddiyana. What happens when you practice after adopting Jalandhara Bandha? After adopting Jalandhara Bandha, you should do Mula and Uddiyana. Means what happens? So you get more pressure on your lung. When you get more pressure on your lungs, you are expanding your trunk. When you expand your trunk, your lungs capacity increases. When you expand your lung capacity, you get more oxygen. Not only the oxygenation, the efficiency of the lung muscles also increased. That's what before practicing pranayama, you should do Uddiyana. Agnishara, Uddiyana and all must be practiced before pranayama. Normally, all the kriyas you have to practice before the practices. Kriya should be the first because of the purification practices. So also one more technique. I don't have time, so with the minimum time, I'm giving only slight example. But bandhas and mudras also we have to go for very detailed. So some atmospheric pressure happens and stimulates superficial layers of adrenal. When you perform more both Mula and Uddiyana, both, it produces more cortisol. So cortisol deals with fat metabolism. There's many, and I could remember only that benefit while performing Uddiyana. Just giving examples. The physiological effects are at times so drastic, like overdose may lead to great risks. You have to be very conscious about practicing mudras and bandhas. You should not teach to the children. It will affect their development. They are in developmental stage. They are in developmental stage of the hormones. So till 15 years, please don't teach mudras. It will affect their hormone development. All the even the conferences also they said they do through the research they identified even the asanas itself, even the yoga itself. Yoga also don't teach below 9 years or below 10 years. So don't go for the intensive training. Don't go for very intensive training. For example, if you take the bones, means they have the more percentage of cartilage in their tender age. It is highly tender. They get more flexibility. It's easy to teach to the children. You can gain flexibility in the young age, but it affects their bone strength. So it is good to teach above 10 years. At the same time, even the mudras, it will affect their hormonal development, endocrine system development. So you should not teach mudras and bandhas. So what is the difference between mudras and bandhas? Vascular locks and gaze. So in bandhas, you will arrest your breathing either outside or inside. In bandhas, you arrest the breathing. In mudras, breathing will be continued. That is the difference between mudras and bandhas. In bandhas, you will arrest the breathing. Where there is contraction, where there is suspended breathing is bandhas. Where there is regulation of breathing, the continued breathing is mudras. That is the difference. To redirect the energy. So why we are doing mudras and bandhas? To redirect the energy to all the channels of the body. So if you this and all interdependence of the yogic practices. If you know the nadis, you will understand the benefits of mudras and bandhas very easily. So and next.
Sudha ma'am, this is going to end in another 1.5 minutes. We'll connect once again for the interactive session.
Yeah, please. We have, I think, 2 more slides. I think.
Yeah.
1 second. Yeah. Only. Yeah. We can join again. Yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I continue? Oh. So we can have a recap. Till asanas we repeated. Mudras, neuromuscular relax. So you know many bandhas and mudras. And as per Hadyoka Pratipika, you got 10. As per Garanta Samhita, you have 25. And even if you adopt Jalandhara Bandha, it actually channelize your circulation in your heart when you adopt Jalandhara.